Welcome to Your Rugged Entrepreneur. Today, we're tackling a topic as American as apple pie, fireworks, and spirited Facebook debates: our constitutional rights. Buckle up for a journey into freedom, fairness, and a dash of Founding Father sass. So, what exactly is the Constitution? Think of it as the United States User Manual, a 230-year-old document written in 1787 that lays out how our government works and, more importantly, protects our rights. The Constitution has been around for centuries, but it's still relevant today. It's kind of like a really old app that somehow still gets updates, evolving with amendments to fit the times. And the first 10 amendments, called the Bill of Rights, are the ones we're diving into. They were added to make sure we didn't forget the important stuff, like speaking our minds, keeping our privacy, and having fair trials. The Bill of Rights starts off strong with the First Amendment, which covers freedom of speech, religion, and the press. This is the amendment that allows us to express our thoughts, practice whatever religion we choose, and access a free press without the government telling us what to think. Can you imagine a world where someone stops you from saying, "Pineapple belongs on pizza"? Neither can I. But let's be clear, while we have the freedom to say a lot, there are still limits. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater, and you can't use freedom of speech to escape the consequences of, say, bad karaoke. This amendment is all about balancing expression with responsibility, so we all get to share ideas while still respecting each other. Then, there's the Second Amendment, one of the most debated rights we have, the right to bear arms. Back in 1787, when the Founding Fathers added this one, they were talking about muskets, not high-tech gadgets and hunting rifles. It was written for a time when citizens might have to defend their homes and communities. Fast forward to today, and it's still considered a core part of American identity by many, symbolizing freedom and independence. This amendment, like others, comes with debates over regulation and safety, but at its heart, it was meant to empower individuals to protect themselves. Just remember, though, no matter how free we are to bear arms, don't take that too literally. Nobody wants to see people walking around with actual bear arms. Now we're on to the Third Amendment, the least talked about of all, but it's worth a mention. This amendment states that the government can't force you to house soldiers during peacetime. It might seem outdated, but back in colonial times, British soldiers would stay in people's homes, whether they were invited or not. This amendment was America's way of saying, our homes are our private spaces, and we don't want random strangers crashing on the couch. It's rarely brought up today, but it set the stage for Americans' expectation of privacy in our own homes.
Speaking of privacy, the Fourth Amendment steps in here to protect us from unreasonable searches and seizures. In other words, the government can't just waltz into your house or look through your things without a good reason. This amendment is why police officers need a warrant to search someone's property. Think of it as America's no snooping policy. The Founding Fathers wanted to ensure that Americans had a right to privacy, even if it meant they couldn't find out how many snacks you're hiding in your car's glove box. The Fifth Amendment is next, and it's packed with some pretty heavy stuff, like the right to remain silent. Ever heard someone say, "I plead the Fifth"? They're talking about their right not to testify against themselves in court. The Fifth Amendment is all about fairness in the legal system, protecting us from being punished without due process. It also includes double jeopardy, which means you can't be tried twice for the same crime. Once you've been acquitted, they can't drag you back to court for the same offense. It's the legal equivalent of saying, "I already told you I didn't do it." Now, let's talk about the Sixth Amendment, which gives us the right to a speedy trial. This amendment is a lifesaver if you find yourself in court because it ensures you won't be stuck in legal limbo forever. Imagine you're accused of a crime, and instead of waiting years to hear your case, you're guaranteed a fair and public trial with an impartial jury. It's a cornerstone of our justice system, making sure that justice is served without unnecessary delay. This amendment also grants the right to know who your accusers are and to have a lawyer present, even if you can't afford one. So, if you ever find yourself in a tough spot, remember that the Sixth has got your back. The Seventh Amendment is like the cousin of the Sixth that also deals with trials, but focuses specifically on civil cases, like disputes over money or property. If the value in question is over $20, you're entitled to a jury trial. Now, I know $20 doesn't seem like much, especially with today's inflation, but back in the 18th century, it was a big deal. This amendment was about protecting people's right to a fair trial for civil matters, which means even small disputes could be given a proper hearing. Now, the Eighth Amendment is a pretty serious one. It protects us from excessive bail, fines, and cruel or unusual punishment. Essentially, the government can't give you a $10 million fine for jaywalking or something equally extreme. And when it comes to punishment, the Eighth Amendment ensures it's fair, proportional, and humane. No medieval torture devices allowed here. It's all about justice being just that, just. On to the Ninth Amendment, which says that the rights listed in the Constitution aren't the only rights Americans have. The Founding Fathers couldn't list every single right in existence, so this amendment acts like a catch-all, ensuring that just because a right isn't listed doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Think of it as the amendment's way of saying, we didn't forget about your other freedoms, promise. And finally, we have the 10th Amendment, which is all about state power. This amendment says that any powers not given to the federal government are reserved for the states. It was the founders' way of keeping a balance between national and state governments, preventing too much power from sitting in one place. It's what makes our federal system unique, with each state having its own say on various matters, from school policies to certain laws. The Bill of Rights was only the beginning. Over time, we've added more amendments to the Constitution to address issues that were missed or arose later. For instance, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote, and the 26th lowered the voting age to 18. The Constitution grows and changes as our nation does, reflecting the values we hold dear. It's like a living document, constantly adapting to new challenges and ensuring we protect freedom for future generations. In the end, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights represent a commitment to personal freedoms, fairness, and justice. They're why we can live in a country where we have a voice, the ability to protect ourselves, and the right to privacy. So, whether you're defending pineapple pizza, enjoying a trial by jury, or keeping the government out of your business, remember that these rights are yours, protected by a document that's been evolving for over 2 centuries. So, that's a quick tour of your constitutional rights. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the freedoms we often take for granted but are so crucial to American life. Remember, it's up to us to understand and protect these rights so they can continue to be part of our nation's identity. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might need a little reminder of what being an American is all about. Until next time, stay rugged, stay informed, and stay free.